everybody. So we are the Hallmarkies podcast, and we are here. This is a very special podcast. We are here to interview the Hall star extraordinaire, Jesse Hutch. We're so excited. And I'm Rachel, and Amber's here.
Hi, everybody.
And
hey, Amber.
Yeah. So, Jesse, this is so exciting. And thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for stopping by my office. Can I get you anything to drink, or coffee, tea, or kombucha? Is that how they say it?
Oh, that's fancy.
Fancy.
So fancy.
So
I squeezed it out of organic fruit. No, I didn't. I went to Costco.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to become an actor.
Ooh, you start with the light one, hey?
That's what Paul Campbell said too.
In 10 words or less. Yeah. Just kidding. You know what? I actually never thought I would be an actor. That wasn't really part of the plan. I actually went to college for outdoor tourism and business. As a matter of fact, I didn't even finish that college program. I actually was a whitewater raft guide at the time, so I had been for about 5 years at that point. Mm-hmm. And I was a safety kayaker as well. And in the winter season, I was a snowboard instructor. So I literally thought I was just going to grow a beard and live in the mountains, and I was totally cool with that. But I have always enjoyed movies, like always, ever since I was old enough to watch a movie or a cartoon. I was always drawn to story. So all of a sudden, these little opportunities started popping up, and it was like, hey, there's a talk, or someone's going to be, coming out and just doing kind of like a TED Talk kind of thing about the film industry. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'll go check it out. And then the more I did those, the more I kind of got interested. And then one day I literally finished 2 trips on the river. And I also worked in the kitchen at the time as a prep cook or a chef. I worked in an open kitchen at night just to make a couple extra bucks. Because, when you're a raft guide, you're keeping people alive, but they don't actually pay you that well to keep people alive. Crazy enough. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, I heard this radio ad, and it was like, hey, 20th Century Fox is going to be doing this thing and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what? When's that? And it was like, tonight. And I was like, where? And it was 3 hours away. Turned to my buddy, and I said, hey, can I borrow your car? And he's like, for what? We're working. And I'm like, I got to go to this thing. And he's like, what thing? And I'm like, the thing on the radio. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, tell the boss I'm out. And I literally grabbed his keys and left, right there. And I didn't get fired for some crazy reason. I don't know how that one worked out, but I literally left right there. And I drove 3 hours to the nearest largest city at the time where I lived. And I went to this, talk. And it was basically about hey, if you enter this competition, then maybe you can see the, casting directors from 20th Century Fox. And anyway, long story short, I ended up doing that and sort of pursuing it for a while, and then eventually ended up moving to the West Coast and never looked back. Never did finish that college program, but I still actually have a ton of qualifications in all those areas. I still train in whitewater rafting, rock climbing, ice climbing, canoeing, camping.
That's so cool.
Just because I enjoy it.
Cole from Snowman's.
I kind of, yeah.
Well, I love open water swimming. That's one of my, when I'm not watching Hallmark movies in the summer, I love open water swimming. I've done 11 open water marathon races, and I love it. So I love being in the rivers and whatever.
See, so you're kind of a little off like me, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. I even swam the Great Salt Lake 5 times, and that takes a certain degree of insanity.
Cool. I've most of my swimming has taken place in rapids. I actually, while I was working as a raft guide, one of the last years that I did it before I finally moved and said, all right, that's it, I'm pursuing acting. I actually drowned. And so that's another story for another time. But after that, after that whole scenario, I actually went back to that rapid, and I had a bunch of my friends who were safety kayakers and everything down at the bottom. And I said, look, I need to swim this thing like in my life jacket, or I'm going to be afraid of this the rest of my life. And it was like something out of a movie, because I'm literally standing on this cliff rock edge and I'm about to jump in and swim this rapid, which is a class 5. So the first rapid is about like, you know, from the water surface to the top of the wave is about 12, 15 feet. And there's 3 of those waves in a row. And so I'm literally about to jump in. I'm amping myself up, and not even kidding you, the clouds come in, cover the sun, and it starts raining. And I'm like I wasn't scared enough. And I'm like, that's it, I'm doing this. And it's like, I jump in and everything's so calm, and you can see like just above the water, right? And it's like, and it just disappears, and you can hear like the, and I'm like, okay. So I start swimming, and finally it's like, you come down over and you're like, oh, why did I do this? And it's just like, so I did it. But anyway, I came out the other side, I lived, here I am.
Oh my God.
And that's actually been like a really big character builder for almost my entire acting career in some weird way, like drowning and then going back to sort of overcome my fears there, because so much of this business is about pushing through, not giving up, doing what needs to be done sometimes in order to, you know, you got to overcome yourself. You got to overcome whatever, pride, fear, anxiety. I mean, you name it, fill in the blank with anything that we all deal with, right? And you got to deal with that in this business. And sometimes it's heavy, and sometimes it's extremely fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you do a variety of roles, I noticed. Not just sort of the lighter stuff, but you have some more heavy stuff. And but I wanted to ask you, what is it like to be in a Hallmark type movie? And I know they don't sometimes give you that much notice. What's it like? What's the experience like?
Stick to me as far as Hallmark project goes, is it's lighter. Like I don't have to go in thinking and worrying about in the back of my mind, like, what is that scene actually going to be? Like, are they going to ask me to do something questionable? Am I, you know, do I have to have a discussion with my wife about, you know, this love scene? I don't know. It's just stuff like that, right? Where it's nice to be able to do something that I can, you know, call up relatives, and I can, you know, talk to my buddy's grandma and be like, hey, you can check this movie out. You know, I don't have to be like, you know what, you might want to watch it first before the kids see it. Or so that's one of the main things I appreciate the most, is being able to do a lot of subjects and topics that are relevant, present in most people's lives, and yet it's not like so heavy. That being said, as you said, I jump around, and I very much enjoy moving around because I like story. That's one of the main things kind of amps me up when it comes to filmmaking, is I like story, and I like stuff that impacts the human heart, and like what can I pull out of someone's heart, right? Even though I may never meet them, and I may never be in their home apart from the flat screen. Or if I can do anything in a performance, I think that would make someone, you know, be angry with my character, or laugh at my character, or be confused or upset, or, I mean, anything that I can pull out of their heart, I see that as a bit of a win, because I think we're people and we need to feel alive, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I wondered, so you played sort of the wrong guy a couple times in Hallmark movies, in 3 Weeks, 3 Kids, and in My Boyfriend's Dogs. And I particularly like in 3 Weeks, 3 Kids, when you get the water dumped on your head. And I was wondering, is that more fun to play the wrong guy than the romantic lead? Or are they both the same?
No, there's a difference. I mean, there is a part of me that enjoys kind of playing the bad guy, so to speak, because honestly, a lot of the times maybe that type of character, right? The guy who's going to rub up against everybody, who insults everyone, who makes you feel like, you know, that's the character that sometimes is written deeper. Like sometimes like those guys have more going on, because for you to be like that, like what's going on in your life, you know, like what have you not dealt with? How were you raised? Like, I don't know, things like that. Career, I'd say definitely 8 years easy, 8 to 10 years, maybe. Like a lot of my roles were more, you know, I'm the jerk, I'm the fill in the blank, like, you know, that guy. And they were always really interesting roles.
So in 3 weeks, 3 kids, or 3 kids 3 weeks. So she pours that water over your head. What was that like? Was that funny to do?
That actually wasn't even scripted. Yeah, oh, absolutely. She just went for it. It wasn't even planned. And then the lemon literally sat on my head, and everybody was just cracking up because it wasn't planned. She just went for it.
It's about making Let It Snow and what that was like to be in your first Christmas movie or Hallmark.
Yeah, Let It Snow is still really awesome for many reasons. I mean, number one, it was the first Hallmark movie that I got to be the male lead in. I worked with Candace, and that was the first time her and I had met, and my wife met her, and she was just awesome. And our family's good. Like, we just all got along, and it was great. And we're still friends to this day. So that says a lot, because you're not always friends with everybody you work with, right? Like, sure. you might become like Facebook friends, but you're not like, sending each other Christmas cards and staying in touch. Yeah. And so in this case, she's just a really awesome person, on all kinds of levels. She's a great woman of faith, and she has, really great morals, her husband, her kids. So yeah, it was a really cool opportunity because we got to work with someone, and we kind of felt like we just understood the roles, and we got it, and we had fun. I mean, it's a Hallmark movie in the snow up in the mountains. How can that not be fun?
Yeah. And
we had great weather. It was like perfect. Everything we needed to do on the mountain in the snow just happened to work out, and we were able to get it all. And then the movie's done really well. I mean, I still have people who are like, this is the 100th time I've watched it. And I'm like, what? Like, that's awesome. You know it way more than I do. And I'm very thankful for that. I have a lot of fans and a lot of people who still message me about it, and they still have questions. And I still have the jacket from it, because whenever I'm able, I like to keep stuff from, especially if it fits. I'm like, oh yeah, right on. Because I don't like shopping, like especially jeans. Like, most of my jeans are from movies that I've done, because I'm like, yes, you shop. They actually fit me. You fix the waist. I'm like, can I have those, or I'll buy them, whatever it takes.
Yeah, that's funny.
So that movie was all around like a really, really great memory and experience for me, and I'm really glad that I got to do that. It was also kind of that time in my career too, where I did have a moment when I was like, yeah, I want to book this. And like, they brought me in again and wanted to see me again. And then again. And then it was like this limbo, like, did I get the role? And like, I really wanted, and it would be so fun. And then I booked it. And then there was like that moment where I'm like sitting in my office by myself, and I'm like I booked it. Like, holy, I booked it. Like, not like, I literally need to do everything that's in the script. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, kidding. Don't tell anybody I'm panicking right now. And so I had that moment, but I was able to go, okay, this is what I want to do this. So, and then you do it, and you learn, and you grow, and it was amazing. Yeah. And so that was a bit of a start for me. I felt like that was the start of my relationship with Hallmark, because some of those other roles were great, and they were good stepping stones, but that was the first lead that I got to play in a Hallmark movie.
And that I'm sure helped you get the Cedar Cove gig. You're having a good relationship with Hallmark.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say no one came out and was like, hey, just so you know, that the Let It Snow in this, totally. Because I still went in and I still auditioned for my role on Cedar Cove, but that was also a really great experience. I mean, to play a character with PTSD, and it's such an important topic, and I mean, so many people are affected by this in their everyday lives, and so for me, it was a bit of an honor, a bit of a scare, because I do like to honor the people that I'm playing, and especially when it comes to ex-Navy SEALs, and so I specifically for that role, I got in touch with a friend of mine in the Navy SEALs, and I said, is there someone that I can speak to? And so I actually did start speaking to a Navy SEAL, and he's a Master Chief, and just a remarkable gentleman. And so I would always bounce ideas off of him and talk with him, and all understanding that we're trying to fit this into a television world. So we can't go into all the, we used to say we can't go 0 dark 30 on this one. and we said that because you just can't get that heavy in some topics, but you know what, it was great. I mean, for Hallmark, I mean, they really were taking a chance on that role and with that character in a way, because you are touching on a subject that is real for people. We are, going into someone's life who, they're dealing with their past, and how do you handle your family, and how do you move on, and it's all very positive at the same time, but it can be very challenging. And so I actually really enjoyed that. It was a really great role for me to play, and I enjoyed every time I was on set, because everything was constantly like, okay, get advice, call up my friend, like work it through. What can we do to make this work? How can we honor these people as much as possible? And there's one particular story that stuck out. It was a wife, and she messaged me on social media after one of the episodes, and she said, "Hey, I just wanted you to know that you reminded me of my husband tonight, because he came home from the war, and he is exactly like the way you were in tonight's episode." And it still impacts me to this day, where I was like, wow. Sometimes we're playing a role, but sometimes you got to recognize that we're playing with an emotion that is, I don't train and do this every day, and I'm just thrown in this role, and I booked it, and we're start filming in 3 days, and what can I do? And oh my goodness, like, these people really are feeling this way and really dealing with this. So it's like, I'm calling up, I'm psychologist, and I'm reading books, and I'm doing the best I can. And, also on the cruise, doing the best I can. The showrunner, Sue, at the time, we'd sit down and have conversations about, like, hey, how can we fit this in? And what can we do to really support this character in a way that people would watch it and feel good about it, in watching it and going, okay, I believe that's accurate. Or, and like I said, all fitting it into a television format. And sometimes we have to ask for people's grace, I think, in going, hey, we are trying to tell a real story here in a way. It's not all based on truth, but it has real aspects to it. And we also don't, you don't want to offend people. I mean, at least I don't. I never want to do that with a role that I'm playing.
Yeah. So do you like playing the sort of the comedy, the physical comedy, or these more dramatic roles?
Both. I have always been the guy who I'm like, don't stick me in that peg and leave me there. You know what I mean? I very much like jumping around, and if I could do that the rest of my career, I would love to.
Yeah.
Because I think we're all kind of like that in life, right? There's times when your life is crazy and it's heavy and it's serious, and then there's times when it's light and you just want to laugh, and then there's times when, for me, I like just action, like I'm gonna climb that building and then jump off there, and think, maybe my kids would want to jump off of that. It's like, so for me, I like the change. I like the challenge. I love getting into all of it. So if I could, I would love to constantly be changing it up. And I like that for any of my fans too. If people are following my work, I'd like for them to go like, I'm sorry, what? Like, Jesse's in a what now? Like, okay, well, wasn't he just in a comedy role? Now he's in a dramatic thriller role. Now he's doing this action role. Now he's in a video game. I mean, what's happening?
Yeah.
And something that I have noticed is that no matter what, whether you're doing comedy or drama or whatever, I don't ever feel confused by your character's actions, because I feel like you really understand your characters and where they're coming from. So anything you do, your characters make sense. And I really appreciate that as someone who's like, why are they doing something like this? Why are they being so stupid? I don't ever feel that way when you're doing things. So props to you.
No, thanks, Amber. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me, because the interesting, cool, weird thing about the film industry is you don't get like feedback like that right away. Like a lot of what we do is just, it's between a very tight-knit group of people, right? The director, the producer, maybe the writer's there, and you do it, you film it, and then it's done, and you don't really know sometimes, other than social media now, how people respond or how they react to things. So
were all of your movies for Hallmark filmed in Canada? Did you have to go up there?
Yes. One I filmed in Vancouver. Let It Snow was in Vancouver, BC. And Harvest Moon was also in Vancouver, BC. Yeah, it was Snowman's, which isn't Hallmark, of course, but that was filmed in Winnipeg. So like central Canada. And it was cold, like there was no fake snow. That's the first kind of movie where all the way through it's legit cold, legit snow. There's no special effects budget for the breath. That was just real. We didn't have to add that.
Yeah, we could tell. That's one of the things that also makes it so great. You know how much we love Snowman's. We have an entire podcast about it. But,
Thank you, by the way. You guys are funny on that.
So Harvest Moon, I obviously clearly like Harvest Moon quite a bit.
There it is.
So Jesse Schrum is in that with you. So 2 Jessies in one movie. And you guys had really good chemistry. I feel like this is a movie that could have been super cringy really quick, but it managed to, she stayed so sweet and so likable, where her character could have been really grating. But I don't know. What was that movie like for you?
I actually really enjoyed that experience as well. It turned out really well. Like, I was really happy. Peter DeLuise, who directed it, he's one of my favorite directors that I've ever worked with, because I think we're very similar in the technical kind of aspect, and then we sort of fill that with all the emotion. But man, Jesse and I, we honestly had like a blast. It was really fun, and we were always communicating. I mean, we were always talking about every scene and going, okay, how do we keep your character likable but still be real within this? And same for my character, right? Like, even okay, how do I knock over a grown woman into a mud puddle and still have the audience like me? Okay. Let's work on that one. How do I be completely opposed to the idea of you taking the farm that my family has owned for a long time and just doing your own thing with it and being angry at you, but not too angry because we still want the audience to like me? So there's constantly those conversations. And I think what you said, Amber, when you said a lot of my characters make sense to you, which I'm thankful for, is, I mean, part of my process is how I work is I really like to physically know what's happening. Mm-hmm. So like, I mean, I do all my work at home and I have my lines down and I'm ready to go, but then I leave a lot of it open. Like, I don't kind of lock it in and solidify it until I get there and I'm working with the other actors and I hear the director and I'm physically standing where I'm going to be, because for me, it affects me hugely if I'm wearing a pair of boots or a pair of runners. It affects me if I'm standing outside in this wide open field and leaning on a fence, or am I on a tractor? It sounds kind of maybe not as important, but for me, I don't do any solid character work until I'm like, I do that at home as much as I can, but then I need to know the physical space where I am so I can fill it.
Well, the chemistry with the other actors too, I'm sure, makes a difference. Yeah,
because like I don't want to lock in what, and then I'm gonna respond this way, and then I'm gonna have my voice be at the staccato, and it's gonna be just perfect. I gotta wait and see what the other actor is gonna bring, because they might bring something that's like fantastic, and I go, I gotta respond to that. Like, what kind of just think of your everyday normal life, right? Like, if you're, Rachel's like says something to Amber, and then Amber just like is constantly responding in this like almost planned way, you'd be like, what are you doing? Like,
we'd have a discussion.
Yeah. Can we have a real discussion? And that actually can happen in the acting world too. You can. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. There's times when I have acted with people and I get the sense that they're not really listening. They're just counting down how many lines until their next line. Yeah. And you feel that, right? There's times when, yes, I'm doing scripted dialogue, but I want to look in your eyes and I want to use this dialogue, and I'm actually want you to respond to me. Like, not just with your lips and the movement of your jaw, like I actually want to feel it. And of course that I'm still working on that myself, like to be an actor who could really make that feel, natural. So that when everybody else is watching it, they, like if everybody always had a little flag, and whenever they were like, that's garbage, I don't believe that moment. And they like, that'd be kind of fun, right? If like, okay, we watch Harvest Moon, and every time Jesse is unbelievable, you like throw a flag out on the floor, and we'll count it at the end, and we'll find out like when you didn't believe me. Because for me, I actually would love that. I'd be like, cool, okay, so wow, you didn't even like that. You didn't buy it. You didn't why? What can I do better?
Yeah. That's interesting though. I wouldn't have thought that you would have like talked together about her character so much. That's cool. And you can tell because like I said, it's a movie that it could have been very cringy, I think, but it really works for me. And so I was curious, like, how comfortable were you with sort of some of the country boy kind of things you had to do, like riding the horse and like line dancing? Was that hard? Did you have to learn?
Yeah, I did have to learn. The line dancing was a little like, okay, because we had no time. Like, it was literally the day of, they bring it in. We're like, all right, so we're going to start filming in like, 20 minutes. And you still got to change. You still got to, get wired and everything. And can you learn the dance? But it was so much fun. And you try to work your character into it as well. Yeah. Like for me, thankfully, my character, it had been a while, maybe, since his last relationship. He hadn't danced in a while. So it was, so to a degree, like part of me was like actually wanting a little bit of like, what am I doing, and watching other people, and so that you can feel that kind of authenticity, hopefully.
Yeah.
But so fun. I mean, and especially after watching a movie like The Showman, I was like, Hugh Jackman has got me all jacked up now. I'm like, I want to do a musical. I'm like, that's cool. Wow.
Well, we have talked to Nina Weinman, our favorite Hallmark writer, about how she wants to do a musical. So we need to put all these pieces in a row and make this happen.
Hallmark musical.
Yeah.
I'm in.
All right, we'll let her know.
Like, and as a performer too, I mean, when you think about it, right? Like, you got to learn your music, learn your songs, learn your lines, learn your choreography.
Yeah.
It's just so much more, and I like that. I like that there's more.
Yeah.
Because I actually, as an individual, like, I thrive under pressure, which is kind of weird for most. But when I get on set and it's like, okay, this is the moment, everybody's watching, all the money sits on this moment. I'm giving different examples. This is the time right now. If you screw this up, like you blew it. I actually do better. I'm more focused. It's clearer for me. Mm-hmm. It's when things are more relaxed and lackadaisical that I actually have trouble focusing. So for me, this business has been fantastic because I like the pressure. I like the changes. I like stuff they throw you where they're like, hey, here's another 5 pages we just wrote right now, and we're going to add this into the scene. I'm like, yes, like.
Because the Hallmark movies, they're filmed in like under a month, correct?
Yeah, usually like 15 days.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, there's movies now that we're doing them in 10 days.
It's amazing.
Gone we did in 13 days.
Oh my gosh. So you really only have a couple takes for each to do. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be as prepared as you can. You have to be able to roll with the punches. If something goes wrong and we change the plan, you have to be able to still bring your character to life, but be okay with those changes, and realize that everyone's working hard. They're doing the best they can.
Is it weird for your kids to see you in movies? Are they just kind of like, what's he doing?
You know what? Actually, my 6-year-old son, he actually watched Snowman's with us over the Christmas holidays, and it actually affected him, like, emotionally quite a bit, because my character doesn't end up with Ashley's character, right?
Yeah.
And he just couldn't really understand it. He was like, and he actually like, he like didn't want to talk to me for a bit, and like so we eventually went and sat down and had like a man-to-man chat, and I was like, what's going on, bud? And he's like, no, like, it was really hard for him. He was like, I wanted your character to be happy and to have the relationship. And it's like, even at a 6-year-old level, like, he wanted it to work out.
Yeah.
And of course, once I explained that, hey, you know what, my character was actually getting them to come together, and that was so they could be happy. And sometimes we have to make others happy. And it was a really great conversation, but his heart was so cute. Genuine. It was. I love
it.
He was really hurt by it. Like, he actually he actually like teared up and was emotional about it. And I was like, whoa, like and sometimes I think maybe I don't know, you think of these stories we tell, and you never know how it's going to impact someone.
We all get emotional at Snowman, so this is understandable. So Snowmance. I really like the physical comedy was my favorite in this movie. The script was really funny too, but like when you're served the carrot and you like freak out, that was really funny to me. And or when you're by the fire and you can't like handle it. And I was just wondering if there's like a particular comedian that you particularly like, or like, I don't know, just something you get inspiration for those kind of scenes for the physical comedy.
Oh, that's good. That's a good question. I really like comedy, and I haven't had a lot of opportunity to do it right up until the last couple years, I'd say. I mean, Becoming Santa was a Christmas movie that I did for Lifetime.
Yeah, one of the best also. I was going to talk about it.
I tried to watch it. I couldn't find it.
And, I mean, I've had opportunities and it's sort of come along. Like even 3 Weeks, 3 Kids was a little bit of an opportunity for me to bring some comedic moments to life. I did do a series a long time ago for the N Network, and it was called About a Girl, and that was comedy. And you know what? From there, that's where I really started to learn from some really great people. I mean, the showrunner on that series actually used to be the showrunner for Growing Pains. Mm. And so I would sit and talk with him, and it was like he was kind of like a grandfather, or a dad, and he just would sort of pour into me, and it was really – so that was kind of a start for me where I was like, man, I really enjoy comedy, and it is not easy. Like it's really difficult. So I really admire and look up to people who are really well known for comedy, because timing and the depth that it takes, and – oh man, like so much has to come together for you to like be funny. Like, I mean, everybody's going to the movie theater to be like, let's watch this Kevin Hart movie. And it's you gotta be funny. Like, gotta be funny, Kevin. And like, we're going to see Jumanji. Like, I better laugh at least 62 and a half times or else I want my money back. So it's like but I like it. And so I'm really thankful that I've been able to bring a bit of comedy, and I'm thankful for the comedy that, the director and the producers and the writer allowed me to bring to Snowmance, because I was like, wow, this could be really fun.
Yeah. And in Snowmance, was a lot of that, was a lot of the dialogue just like straight from the script, or did you guys get to improvise a little bit on that? Because a lot of it just felt really off the cuff. And so I don't know if that was just great acting or great improvising. So
definitely a blend of both. There was some really, really good writing that was like, oh, that's cute, or that's cool, or that absolutely fits this scene, and then the director Doug Mitchell, he was actually who I've worked with before. Actually, he was actually years ago the first AD on Joyride 3. So we went from doing this thriller together to now he was directing this movie, and I was like, oh, yes, I'm in. And so he was awesome at allowing me to just like ad-lib things and bring, because I had all these kind of wacky ideas, right? Because I've never been able to play a snowman before, just come to life.
I mean, that doesn't come up every day.
It doesn't. Maybe never again. I mean, I'd love to do a sequel, to be honest.
Oh man, Snowman's 2, I am so in. Whoever you need to tell them there will be an audience. I mean, I've already bought copies of the movie, so you're making it there.
So, yeah, I mean, whoever's listening right now, if you're in charge of Snowman's 2, call us up.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Because did Cole, like, where is he at the end of the movie? Did he just like?
Yeah. That's you have to be part of the Snowman Brigade to have that information. So.
Darn it. But to me, I thought the character felt a lot like in the movie Elf. Yeah. The way that like you have this very innocent character who's like coming into to the real world sort of. And I love the scene with the fish. He's like, this is the best. Look, this kid, whatever. It was so funny to me.
Oh, that actually smelled so bad that we had to remove it and like air out the set. Like literally.
So was it real lutefisk?
It was real. It was like from this local family, and they were like, "We'll make the lutefisk guy." I don't know if they talk like that, but they made it. I'm sorry if I offended anyone there with the oh, but anyway.
No.
It actually smelled so bad, like it was horrible, and like Ashley was like, like I think I'm gonna puke, and we like had to get rid of it and like pretend. So we just shot that out because I like stick the fork in. It's like, and people are like, oh, okay. They're like, we can't do this. So that was a lot of fun. Just little quirky things that that I was like, hey Doug, so I'm a snowman, right? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so you ever stand outside when it's really cold? And I was like, you can hear everything, right? So I'm like, so as a snowman, I could probably hear everything. So I should choose what I respond to. And he was awesome with that because they kept some of it in the movie where I think there's one point where they're talking and I'm already over by the snow pile and I'm like digging it up with my hands and I yell in response to something they say, but like they don't say it really loud.
Yeah.
But that was the moment where I was like, okay, I heard that and I want to respond. Some other moments that maybe people don't pick up on is when they go into the house. Ashley's character goes into the house, and Adam Hurtig, and they go into the house, and they're kind of having like they're like a fight or their scuffle. And I'm standing outside, and I have a look of concern, kind of, and I was sort of playing that moment as though I can actually hear it, and I actually care, and I hope that they can work it out, kind of thing. So stuff like that sometimes doesn't fully translate on screen, but the nose thing with the carrots, that was planned and we wanted to do that, but we didn't know exactly how it was going to look, right? Because we didn't want it to be cheesy, but we wanted it to be a part of it because it was so important. And so we did do another version, which they didn't put in the movie, but we did a version where I just like lost my mind.
Oh, man.
Where I was like, oh, like, and we also there was another version.
See that.
I wish I could see it. Where it was like the waiter, I projected my anger towards the waiter because I was like, I can't believe you serve like noses to people. Like that was my inner monologue, right? And so like every time he walked by in the scene while she was talking, because he was supposed to keep serving people, right? I was like constantly just like I just stare at him and then I go back and I'm like, oh yeah. No, I do this job and walk by and I'd be like, and so we played with that, but you got to decide what's going to make the cut, right?
Sure.
One of my favorite moments is when you are building your snowman and being like, hey, buddy, look at this thing. And then obviously he knocks it over. But when you put the head back on the body and you're like, keep some pressure on it. It was so funny. I died.
That was really funny.
Yeah, that
scripted, or was that all you?
No, that wasn't scripted. It just came out because I was like, because he was like, okay, we're gonna film this, and like Doug was like, so I want you to like, he's like, I don't know what you have planned, but I want you to be like, this is gonna kind of hurt your feelings. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going like full Saving Private Ryan on this, like it's gonna be, and like, and we did do one version where it was like even more, like, and as soon as we were like, I literally was like, okay, what if this was Saving Private Ryan with snowmen? And so I did it that way. And we were done. I walked up, and both of us were like, no, too serious. Because it was just, I know. I mean, I would have because if we keep it that serious, like I would have had to take an Adam Hurtig's character and like, you're right, he'd be like the ultimate enemy. I would have had to like break a leg or something.
And he wouldn't have been your little buddy anymore.
I know, little guy, hey. You wouldn't believe how many people like message or send me like, hey, little guy. Like I even get texts. Hey, I watched your movie today, little guy. Like,
I want to ask real quick about becoming Santa. I know we did mention it. It's so great. It's really funny. I love it. How amazing in real life is Laura Bell Bundy? Because I think she's probably the best.
Yeah, Laura, she's definitely a very sweet person. I mean, it was very similar in the sense that doing that movie, I mean, we were constantly talking about everything and discussing, because we were playing with those things, right? Jack Frost and Snowman, and I mean, like not Snowman, like the cold and training to be Santa and reindeer, and so it was so much fun. I mean, and it was a bit of a weird thing too, because working, it was a bit of a flashback, right? Like I felt like I was watching Growing Pains again.
Yeah.
Like the first time I heard their voices, I was like, whoa, that's so crazy. Because I grew up watching that show. So it was really fun. I mean, and Tony Cavallero, he's still a good buddy of mine. Like I try to see him as much as I can, which isn't very often, but he's a funny guy. I would love to do a comedy with him, like straight up, where we just get to go crazy.
Yeah, I think he was in The Duff, and that's when he
Uh-huh.
first came onto my radar, and then I kept seeing him in all these other things, but he's a
Yeah.
funny guy. So tell him I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Tony,
So,
she's a big fan.
do you know for these other movies that they are going to be on non-Hallmark channels when you start them, or do you not know if they're going to be purchased by another channel?
Most of I mean, if it's a Hallmark movie, you know right away, yeah, it's a Hallmark movie. I don't think I've ever had a movie that
So you
became
knew
a
it was going to be
Hallmark.
on Ion
Yeah,
Snowman's?
I knew.
Okay.
Well, not right away. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Not right away. There was a possibility that it could. I mean, it could have been purchased by Hallmark, but you never know, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there are a lot of movies that are made they make it and then Hallmark purchases it and it becomes theirs. But
podcast and talking about all some of movies that we love, Harvest Moon and
not a problem.
Snowman's.
Thank you.
Yeah, big fans. We look forward to seeing what you do in the future.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
You got some fun things hopefully coming up soon.
And when we finally sell the 45 men and a baby concept to Hallmark, you're going to be in it.
Okay. You call me up.
Did you hear about this on the podcast? We want to have a dueling firehouses full of Hallmark hunky men movie.
Yes. It might have to. I wonder would it have to be a Lifetime movie though?
Well, they already had the it was that 12 Men of Christmas. So
did they? Oh,
it could be Lifetime. We're fine. Any station.
That would be awesome. That would actually be really funny because there's so many like guys that I know from different Hallmark movies that I've known throughout my career that I would probably know a lot of them.
Yeah.
See,
like it would be
the best time, you guys. Just like a bunch of bros being firemen.
Just saving lives.
Yeah. Well, we figured you could have a pancake cook-off.
Or a chili cook-off. We're not sure.
Cook-off.
It's still
Yeah, and that's kind of heated and competitive between the firehouses.
Yeah. You got to do both. I mean, the chili might cause some, how do I put that properly?
A 2-day event.
Flatulation.
2-day event.
Lots of good stuff there.
Well,
I want to thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And so where can people find you? Where can people reach you on your social media and stuff?
Instagram is one of my favorite go-tos because I like to just have fun. Twitter is usually my Instagram being passed off to the Twitter. The Facebook fan page is very similar. So Twitter's kind of my go-to. It's the main hub, and then everything branches out from there.
Okay, good.
And then IMDb is, I mean, if people are wondering about, is he that guy from the thing that I saw? Who is this guy? Because I've never seen him, and that's a fair question.
Is that guy in that episode of Supernatural? And
yeah, did he do that thing? You're like, yeah. Wait, did he just get killed? Was that guy? Yeah. Was he just electrocuted? Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. I'll have your links to your social media in the description. We'll put that down there. And so, Amber, where can people find you?
As always, people can find me. I'm at Amber Brainwaves on Twitter, and that's it.
Yay. All right. You can find me at Smiling LDS Girl on social media and at Rachel's Reviews on iTunes and YouTube. Check that out. And thanks so much again. And hopefully we'll get to talk again soon.
Yeah. Let's hang out soon.
Okay.